Well, hello, ladies. Hi. This is Taylor Thompson coming to you live here in the She Network. So excited to have you here. As you're coming on, let us know you're here. Let us say hi. We want to welcome you. If this is your first time on, let us know this is your just first time. Or if you're to replay, put hashtag replay. We want to hear from you as well. I have a really special guest here today. I cannot wait for you to hear her story and get to know her better. I had the opportunity, ladies, I don't know if you are on Clubhouse or if you've been introduced to Clubhouse in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but I will tell you, I'm having so much fun connecting with people, hearing their stories, and really just getting to know people better. So I'm super excited. My special guest here today, hey, Gemma, welcome. We got Spain in the house. Welcome. So Miss Amy White, how are you today? My neighbor from Arkansas, how are you?
I am so good. I'm so excited to be on here. So glad to meet you on Clubhouse and so many other people. But yes, I am doing great today. Super excited that you've asked me to be on here.
Well, I love it because here's, as we were talking about, like here in the She Network, first of all, we're talking about women. We're talking about moms. We're talking about wives. We're just talking about women who just want to collaborate and not compete and know. So I know you have an amazing story, and we have some dear friends that we share mutually, Mr. and Mrs. Tom Shallon. Love them. Love them. And I know they were at your house last week because they dropped by here before they dropped.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah. They did.
So tell us about you, Amy. Tell us about your journey and how you got here. Here you are a mom of 5. And first of all, I can just say, God bless you. I mean, mom of 5, being an entrepreneur, you have a lot of wisdom to share with just in that arena alone. But, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how did you get from there to where you are now in this brand new company, top earner. Let's talk about it. Oh, we got Italy in the house now. Ooh, love it.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. So I've grown up in Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. I have 2 sisters and a brother. So I'm the oldest, always kind of paved the way, and grew up in a Christian home. Went to church. It was like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You go to church on Sunday. That was kind of how I grew up. Love Jesus and, would not be able to do anything without him, basically. So grown up in a great home. My parents are still married. My parents have never been divorced. We have a very close relationship with all of our family, and pretty much most of us are here in Little Rock. My husband is also from Little Rock. His family also, he's the youngest of 4. He's
that's like a dichotomy in of itself, because personality wise, the oldest versus the youngest, we know about that. I'm the only child. Well, I was the oldest and the youngest, but you probably have a lot of dynamics going on with your relationship with your husband.
Yeah. For sure. It's totally, 2 different, personalities, but we're so much alike. It's crazy. But he also grew up in Little Rock, and his family also went to the same church that we grew up. His sisters actually used to babysit me and my sisters. And so we've just kind of grown up together. We really never dated in high school, but we always kind of knew each other because he was 3 years older. So that's huge when you're in high school. When he's a senior and you're in 9th grade, you're like, hi.
Big age gap whenever you're in high school.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have let I've got 3 daughters. There's no way I would have let my freshman daughter go out with a senior. Not happening.
So anyway, he went to the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. He went on a golf scholarship, so he's a golfer. I went 3 years later to the University of Arkansas, and I was not a golfer, but I was a Kappa Kappa Gamma. And so that's the sorority I was in. And we kind of dated a little bit on and off, but never really. I got married when I was 23, and he was 26. And, it's just, you get married and you start having kids. I had a hard time. I had gotten pregnant and had to have a DNC, and so could not get pregnant again. And so all my friends were getting pregnant and no one was having miscarriages. And I feel like I was the only one having a miscarriage.
So let's really talk about that for just a minute, because, I had one of my guests I think it was last month, and, we had this conversation, because this is a conversation that I don't think really women openly discuss. And the journey that if you can't get pregnant, or if you get pregnant and you lose the pregnancy. My first baby was stillborn, and I was 38 weeks pregnant, and and I think it's one of those things that because we're made to have babies, or and then if something's not going right. So did you have I've talked to a lot of women, they deal with shame and guilt, and talk about that emotion, like what you were going through, because if all your other friends are going and nobody else is walking in those shoes, that's a really tough conversation to have, because nobody can connect with you.
No. And it was just a tough time. It was just something I just kind of had to a little bit get through on my own with my husband or my mom, having to help me. And, obviously I'm not dumb. I know that in life we're all going to have hard times. So we have to just kind of try to get through it. But one thing I love that I went through a hard time is that you're able to connect with those people. So I've been able to help others.
Yes.
That other people wouldn't be able to speak to. And so that's just like in life, you know that if you're going to go through a hard time, you're going to, first of all, get through it.
Yes.
But second of all, you're going to be able to help someone else in their lifetime with the issue that you just went through.
See, this is, this right here is my jam. Like, I love this conversation, because so many times I think women essentially do not look at that as part of using that as their message to really bring up and be a hand up to another woman, knowing like, if I can get through this and I can be a light for another woman walking behind me, I need to share my story. And so many times I think whenever you're in that battle or you're in that midst, you kind of hide back, you shrink back because you think you're alone. And so I love what you're sharing, that you had the foresight of being able to say, okay, I'm going through this, but I'm going to be able to help somebody else walk through the process. That's really, I love that. I love that mindset. Love that mindset.
Yeah. Just with, I'm not a quitter, and, you know that, life's not perfect. God didn't make life to be perfect. And that, to be honest, is part of how you build who you are. That's your character. It doesn't mean that you don't struggle, and there's a lot of crying, and sometimes you are pitying yourself. I've been there, done that. Just like I say to everybody about everything, time is your best friend. It really is. Time, the longer that things go on, it gets a little bit easier and a little bit easier and a little bit easier. And, and that's just kind of what, do
you think of your faith, like, whenever you were in that dark time, did you think your faith and your upbringing supported you through that process?
100%. I think that when you can trust your life, that God has your life in his hands.
Yeah.
You can trust the hard.
Yes.
Because he's got it. That there's a reason. He knows the hairs on this thick old head of hair of mine, he knows what's going to happen in my life. So I think that when you can trust and hold tight to that, it doesn't mean it's not easy, but you can still hold fast to that for sure.
Yeah. Ladies, how many of you I just want to say, you may be walking through a tough place right now. You may be in the pit right this minute. And I'm just going to tell you, journal it out, right? Write it out, the feelings, the emotions and everything, because this place right here where God has you in this moment, in this time, there's going to be a message in through this mess if you can see it and trust the process to get you through, that you are in it to be an inspiration for somebody else walking behind you. I love this conversation. So your first baby, was that a boy or a girl?
Boy.
And then what happened next? I mean, like, did you always want to have a big family?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wanted 4. I think just because I was the oldest of 4, and I love, I thought, yeah, I just want a big old family, and so John David was an artificial insemination baby. Did not know how long it was going to take me to get pregnant again, or anything like that. 3 months later, I was full-time breastfeeding and I was pregnant again. So Zach came. They're 12 months and 6 days apart.
Yep.
My body just kind of relaxed. I think it just relaxed. And I wasn't even thinking about it. I was actually at a golf tournament watching my husband, and I was walking around. I was like, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
What in the world? So anyway, I was pregnant with Zach, and John David was only 3 months old. And so had him. They're both December babies. And then 7 months after Zach, I was pregnant with Cooper. And then 2 years after that, I was pregnant with Walker. And then 3 years after that, pregnant with Molly Kate. So I have 4 boys. They're 19, 18. I'm sorry. They're 20, 19, 18. And Walker will be 16 next month. And so 20, 19, 18, 16. And then I have a 12-and-a-half-year-old daughter.
Wow. And then she's the princess now.
She's the princess.
Yes.
And she's very different from my boys.
Yeah, I love that. So it sounds to me like, really you have like this really amazing life. You have the family, the culture you grew up with, there's not a lot of huge speed bumps. I mean, the ideal situation. So, here, and now you have 5 kids, you're living in Arkansas with your literally high school sweetheart, I would say, it has to be. Some along those lines. And so what were you doing at the time? Were you a stay-at-home mom? How did you get through this journey? Now you're an entrepreneur. How did you get to that place?
I feel like that's kind of when my life, hit hard times. You know what I'm saying? I think I just kind of, obviously, there was hard times in my life. I did make cheerleading or something like that, but I think that when I got married, had 5 kids, doing great. We had the hard time with us having the pregnancy. So that was kind of a hard time. And then everything was peachy keen. And then when the market crashed in 2008, so many people have this same story. So it's so funny. But 2008, 2009, we started struggling financially. My husband was in the stocks and bonds industry. And we had done really well, or he had done really well. I was not working. I did not ever think I was going to work. My mom did not work. My mother-in-law did not work. So I just knew I wasn't going to work. I didn't want to work. I just wanted to be a mom, period. And I knew my personality, because it's kind of like, once I put something in front of me, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it well. That's how we've taught our boys. You don't just give 100%, you give 110%. You do the best that God has given you.
Yes.
On everything, school, sports. My boys are huge sports. In fact, my older 2 are sports college athletes now. One plays football, one plays baseball. And then my 3rd one is fixing to go to college, and he's not going to. And my 4th one, he's 6'4", he's 15 and 6'4", 215 pounds, and he will play football in college too. So we've taught our boys, if you want it, you have to work for it.
Yes.
There's always going to be someone out there working harder than you.
Yes.
So work when no one's watching. So my son would get up in the morning and go run hills, or my other son would hit baseball bats until midnight at night. Just work when other people aren't working, because there's always going to be someone working harder than you. And that's just kind of how my husband was as a golfer, how I was just in life and exercise or whatever. And so when the market crashed, when we started struggling financially, at the time, my oldest was 9. So I had a 9, 8, 7, 5, and 2-year-old.
Okay.
And I knew I needed to help out financially. I just didn't know what. I mean, because I didn't want to leave my kids. They were so young. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't want to, I wanted to still be a part of their life. And so I was introduced to network marketing.
Well,
And
I just have to say this because, like, that's how I started too, Amy. And I think that was 28 years ago. Like, you look in, like, the time frames, like, there's still a world of moms out there that don't know anything about being an entrepreneur, or that there's a possibility of making money from home. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know anything. There's still a world of moms that would love to have mom care versus daycare, that don't want to go put their children in daycare. Plus the fact, if you had four, my goodness, you would have never made any money, even working outside the home. You would have spent it all on daycare.
right.
So this is so were you skeptical? Were you like, or were you all in? What was your mind?
I didn't know anything to be skeptical about. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, it's kind of like, ignorance on fire. Like, I just kind of was like, let's do this. I can work from home. I can help out my family. That's all I knew. Once again, it comes back to the hard work. Like, I knew I was going to do well because I'd give 110%. Yes. I already knew I was going to go to the top because I tell myself I'm going to the top. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I'm going there.
Okay, so let's stop right here for just a minute, because right there is such a big, 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 big mindset. Ladies, if you're taking notes here, like, write this down, because I love because sometimes whenever people come in, especially in our space, they come in with trepidation. They come in saying, well, I'll try it. We'll see how it works. But they're not like all in. They haven't made that full-blown decision, right? And I love what you just said. Like, I'm in. I'm all in. I'm celebrating in the top, or I'm dead on the side of the road. I'm all in. I don't care how long I'm doing it until. Love that mindset. Love that framework. That right there serves you well. Trust me. If you have any doubt, this serves you well. Okay, so keep talking.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I'd never done network marketing. I didn't know anything about it. It was at a skincare company. I was like, I've always struggled with my skin. I love skincare. Let's do this. And so I just started learning. I didn't have anyone coaching me. I would stay up late at night. I would read about it. I would learn how to do it. And, 1 foot forward, 2 steps back, 1 foot forward, 2 steps back. Like, I would have people that would say no, or I would have people that would ignore me, or I would have people join me and then quit. And then all of a sudden someone would join me and do well. And it's just,
yeah.
I just learned as I go. And that's what I tell my team even now. I'm like, action is how you learn. Like, you can read till the cows come home, but still not know what you're doing. You've got to just go. Just start doing it.
It's so true. It's so true. Like that right there. If everybody would do what you just said, I always say, like, you can read all the books and watch all the videos and webinars and get all the training till the cows come home. But let's talk about Arnold. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger could have read all the books about working out, dieting, but the reality is he had to go to the gym and lift the weights in order for all that knowledge to work, right? And that's where people miss the boat, is they're not willing to go to the gym and lift the weights.
Right.
So what happened? What happened with that company?
So I was in it for 8.5 years. Went to the top, got the car, got the jewelry, got the trips. I got it all. I did totally changed our life. And one thing that, I think that I had never seen that type of money before. We had never seen that type of money before. And so, we built our dream home, life just kind of it was great and la, 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 la. And, I just think that that's also something that we had to learn also with network marketing. Like, you still need to be very wise with your money, and not just, spend it because you have it, because you don't know with anything in life, like, what's going to happen the next day.
Yeah.
And so, but it just kind of got a little bit tough, with that company. And there's a lot of, I don't really want to say too much about that, but I just felt for some odd reason, because I'm a very loyal person, like I never, ever, ever thought I would have left that company.
Yeah.
There was a lot of different reasons why I started looking to pivot.
And do you feel like it was moral? Like, do you felt like ethical reasons, or was it something, or you just was like, in your spirit was like, this is not aligning with who I am anymore? I mean,
I think
I've heard that conversation a lot, just like where you started and the mindset that you started with, there was a shift with them, they changed the comp plan, they changed the products, they made a shift. And so it wasn't the same company with the same value system. And I've heard this conversation, many companies, many different distributors, reasons why that's like, okay, it's time for me to, look somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there started being some of that. Like I said at the very beginning, I'm a very goal-oriented person, and I just started not feeling excited to show up to work anymore because I didn't feel like I could win anymore. And I was at the top of the company. Wow. They had done some changing, but I think that I was in my mind because having 5 kids is expensive. And now we're headed to the next stage where they're all going to college. And now they're all driving. So now we have cars and insurance and college. So life's only getting more expensive.
Yeah.
And the company, they were doing some changes. And so I told my husband, I'm going to beat the system. I'm not going to let this take me down. I'm not winning anymore. If I'm not winning anymore and anyone I bring in isn't winning anymore, it became not that your business has to be fun, because I know that there's ups and downs and that type of thing. But I will tell you that one thing that I have learned is that culture is so huge in a business and in your team. And if it's not, the culture isn't there, it made me not be as committed to stay.
I hear what you're saying. Whenever you lose your passion for what you're sharing, what you're talking about, whenever, especially a woman, because women think differently. I don't care if we're red, blue, green, yellow. I don't care. Women think differently about business because they think relationally, and they're willing to walk. I've seen it many, many times, willing to walk away from checks. If it doesn't resonate or align with their value system, a woman will walk faster than any guy would. Trust me, I've seen it many, many times. And most people don't understand that. But I think it's very commendable because I think we join for different reasons too. I mean, the money's always great, but it's always the result, because I think we're so relational and we're so connected to the people that we bring in that we feel responsible. And I've seen and heard that many, many times. So, I mean, was this your sole source of income at the time?
No, my husband has a job. Has his job. He didn't really ever want to he has always been my biggest supporter and helped me, but he kind of wants his own thing. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to be one that's like, I'm in my wife's footsteps.
I didn't know if it was going to be like, okay, so he quit, so now you're doing this together.
No, I kind of thought that we would do that, but I was glad that we didn't. But I actually didn't just leave. The company said you could do 2, because there was a lot of people that were leaving to go do 2 because of the same type of things. So I was just planning on leaving my residuals sit there while I went and built another business, because it was because I'm in the athleisure business. So it's like, they're like, there's 2 different things.
Yeah.
And so I was in compliance, and so they were like, yeah, I did everything behind the scenes of talking to compliance. They're like, yeah. I didn't even make any posts. I didn't even put anything out there. I did in January of 2020. So kind of say I was had added to my brand, and so that kind of caused some people going like, "What's the deal?" But that's it. but anyway, so yeah, so I just kind of left that there and never even made a post about my new company or even the company I've been with. Nothing.
Yeah.
And then in April of 2020, I was terminated out of the blue. 5-figure a month income just down.
Wow.
So,
even though you dotted all the dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, trying to do a right thing in a right manner, and they terminated you with no
warning, and they're supposed to, no warning. And so, yeah, I got a lawyer. We were actually that spring, we were selling our house anyway, just because life was tough, which I was already upset about anyway, didn't want to sell the house. But like I said, the business was going down. My life was getting more expensive. I was just trying to help out my family. Yeah. So we sold our house. And so then when I was terminated, April 30th, we were going to move into this other house. We were actually closing on that house May 1st. So the next day, we had to disclose that I had just lost my income. So now we lost the house. So then all 7 of us have to move in with my parents.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was all last year. Lived with my parents the whole summer. Got a lawyer because I didn't do anything wrong. I was targeted. Because,
had you documented all of this stuff?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I was like an FBI agent.
Yeah. So, I mean, so this is such a relevant conversation, Amy, because, I think this kind of thing is happening. And I don't think that women necessarily know. They may feel trapped. They may feel boxed in. They may feel like they have no other alternatives. I mean, this is such a relevant conversation in this space. And I just hate it that that's what they did to you. So what happened? I mean,
we've got a friend that's really big into Fox News, and my husband wanted me to take it to Fox News. I was like, can you imagine, Mama 5, sole provider during a pandemic, gets terminated out of nowhere after we had been okay, loses their income, loses a house in the network marketing space. It would have been a massive story.
Yeah.
But got a lawyer, was reinstated to the company because I didn't do anything wrong.
Wow.
Reinstated, got all my income that I had lost.
Congratulations, because I will say, it's really hard. I mean, first of all, getting a lawyer and going up against another company, typically they will they obviously have more money than any individual, right? And I've seen those kind of stories drag out and bleed the distributor dry.
Yep.
I mean, that's what happens. So you're one of the lucky ones, blessed ones. I won't say lucky. I'll say
the system. But this is the thing. I didn't want anyone's demise with that company. I never even made a post. I want all my people to win. This was just sticking up for my family that I didn't even do anything wrong. So it wasn't I still am cheering all of them on. Yeah. And I want the best for them. That was not who I wanted it to happen like that. It just did, but they didn't follow their P&Ps either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. And the fact that you stood up for yourself, I love this conversation. So what happened? After you got your check back, and
I sold my business.
You sold it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't want to be a part of it anymore.
Yeah.
So I had actually tried to sell my business before I was even terminated, and they held my hands behind my back. They wouldn't let me. So when I was in the lawsuit, I just said, they said, we won't touch you this time. I was like, well, thanks.
So I hope they paid for your attorney fees.
No.
Wow.
But that's okay. I mean, it's fine. I sold my business. in July, and then August 1st is when I did a live video.
And so what's happened since then? So you obviously are not, I don't think you're living with your mom and dad anymore.
No, we bought a house. I just, I was such in a down time in my life, like to even go look at a house. Every time I'd go into a house, I'd cry because I just couldn't even function because of, and to be honest, yes, it was about the money, but it was more about my character that the company had done to me.
Yeah.
That people were saying behind my back that wasn't even true.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go and defend myself. I never went and talked about it. I just kept quiet because, what's the point? So I think it was more like I was struggling a lot, just more about the character part of them kind of making me think all these people think this about me. It's not even true.
Right.
And then holding me back from growing my other business. So during all of that time, I hit the top of our company as I was living at home in a lawsuit with the other company. I hit founders of my new company.
Wow. Congratulations. You talk about a strong mindset, right? Belief system. That's because here's the thing, like whenever we do what we do, you have to have the right mindset, and to this point, ladies, like, you never know what's happening behind closed doors. You never know what your team, your distributors, people you're having, you don't know what they're going through, because I promise you, if everybody was looking at Amy and hearing this story now, if they looked back through this process, they would have never known that anything like this was going on in her life, because she had to be face forward. She had to put on her game face, right? And you got to put on your poker face. You've got to play the hand you've been dealt. And so commendable to you, Amy. Now, and to me, this is what real leadership is about. When people talk about leadership, sometimes people equate leadership to a rank or the amount of a check. I don't see leadership like this. What you're telling me, this story, this is leadership. This is doing it in spite of. This is doing it in the pit. This is doing it whenever things are hopeless and you feel helpless. And the fact that you kept getting up and doing your job description every single day. You sent chills over me. I'm so proud of you. Not to sound condescending in any way, shape, form, but what an inspirational story this is. I love it. I love it. This is so, it's really it's like making me emotional, because you're just like, that's such an inspirational story. I didn't know, and you're telling me this now, and my heart is like going, God bless you for going, for doing that and keep moving, and I know that your family, your children, and your husband, they must be so inspired by your strength and your character through this process. I'm sorry. Such a great story. So, and ladies, this is one of those things, like making the decision. The decision is always the hardest part. The decision, whenever you decide to do something, and in the midst of the pit, in the midst of the challenge, and you've got arrows flying at you every day. I can't even imagine trying to build a business, living with my mom and dad, with my 5 kids it's like, I'm so in awe. I'm so inspired. So inspired. Love it. Love it. So tell us about how you're celebrating now, because you've gotten past this. It's now August. You're making your first post. You're out in the open. You're already at the top of the rank. Like, what's happening with you and your business, and where you are with your family? Like, this is going to be an exciting cherry on top.
Yeah, no, we bought a house and are here. And, and I think too, when I was going through all that, like I said, my older 3 are just a year apart. So I've had to that's also another part of my why when I started looking to pivot, I was also personally going through like losing my oldest to college. So I knew that our life was never going to be the same again. Like I'm not a helicopter mom and so I was excited for him to go to college, but he was my first. And so I knew my life was also about to change. Yeah. And I was already just kind of blah in life. And then when the business wasn't working and I wasn't, I just felt like there was just, and I had some random person come up to me and be like, I just had a dream about you, about this. And I was like, okay, there's all these signs. So during all of this, I've had another kid leave the house. So I'm now on my third boy in 3 years graduating. So I've dealt with, when you have a senior, there's all like, you've got to, baccalaureate, and then you've got to send in a baby picture for this, and then you've got senior gifts, and then you've got senior trip, and then you've got senior, college. And so all for 3 years, I've done this.
God bless you. I mean, like I walked, I did that 2 years back to back with my two.
Yeah.
I had some space. I can't imagine doing it 3 years back to back. 2 years back, it nearly buried me.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I am right now with my third. We're in our house. The business I'm in is it's bigger than my other in 1 year than my other business was in 8. I have close to 15,000 people in 13 months, 14 months. Once again, that did not just happen in 1 year. That happened from me being consistent for 9 straight years in network marketing, showing up every day, not quitting, my character, people following me, that type of thing. Like I never reached out to one person when I switched over to this new company because once again, I still want them to win, even though they don't want me to win. I still wanted them to win. So I was having people come to me and I was screenshotting it because they can come to me.
Yeah.
I just didn't go to them. And so now I have this massive team of all these people. There's a total different culture because I was very adamant to not and I've also learned a bunch, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like having an abundance mindset. Like if someone wants to get in and do it part-time, great, do it part-time. If someone wants just to buy wholesale, great, buy wholesale. If someone wants to go to the top, show me your activity and I'll match your efforts. I mean, like I'm still going to work with or without them. So you can either come alongside of me or not, but I'm going to cheer you on. I'm going to love you no matter what it is. And so
this right here is another mindset like piece, Amy, is so valuable that I have to share. So many times, like we can get caught up, especially whenever you're at the top level, looking at what your team's doing or not doing, and getting caught up on what they're, that management mindset and just realizing like come in at whatever level, this is the Thompson rule, the 80, 15, and 5. This is where the magic is. And whenever you can treat people, allowing them to come to their own natural logical conclusion based on their desire, not your desire for them. And so this mindset right here, ladies, if you're tuning in, this mindset serves you very well at the highest level whenever you let people, do it based on what they want to do. And I love that you're going to do it with or without them. You're welcome. They're welcome to join your party, so to speak, and they can follow you. My mindset was like, you're either on my train or off my tracks. I don't care. Like I'm going, like, so, and whenever you think like that, it's really, it's really amazing how attractive you can truly be to people.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's gone great. My team's amazing. I've never seen so many amazing leaders in my life on one downline. It's just, it's awesome. And, we're just kind of rocking and rolling and
I love it. I love it. So as we're leaving here, I love this story. I love everything that you shared. So what would you share with the ladies here? Like, what would be your takeaway? What is it that you want to instill in them? What wisdom would you want to impart to them as we're leaving here today? What would that look like?
I did a call last Monday and I kind of talked about my story too. And I think that if I had to quit, I'd still be losing. Like, the only person I'm going to hurt is myself. And so while you're doing whatever you're doing, if you're wanting to lose weight, like, you have to go to the gym, you have to eat right, you have to do the things to lose the weight. Same thing with being at the top of the company. You have to show up when no one's watching. You have to keep going when people ignore you. Same thing with my boys as athletes. They have to get up at 5 in the morning and work, or they have to hit balls until midnight to work hard. Like, you've got to work with or without people knowing you're working, and you're going to have a lot of disappointments along the way.
Yeah.
But if you quit, you're still losing.
Yeah. It's so
So
good.
you have to have something that's really deep within you to want to keep driving forward.
Yes. Burning desire. Burning desire. It's so true. That's so inspirational. So keeping your mindset straight. I mean, like, because when you're in the pit, how did you stay focused? What did you do? What kind of tools would you like to share? Did you use anything in particular? What was it that kept you focused to keep moving?
I'm not a big reader, but I love it when I've tried to get better at it. And when I do read, I feel so much smarter. I feel like, oh my gosh, I can conquer the world. When I was going through my hard time, it was also COVID. So we're not going to church. Like, there's it's just like no one, it was just like, but I also couldn't get my mind to even sit and read scripture because I was just so in the pit.
Yeah.
So I think just praying and talking with my husband and talking to my mom, and I love worship music. I love to listen to podcasts, when I can. I do love reading when I can, and if I make the time for it, I really want to make the time for it every day because I love it when I do it. But I think that during the hard, sometimes, and this is, I was saying this the other day too, like, there were days and weeks I couldn't even show up for my business when I was going through all that hard time. Like, I didn't have any, and there's still days that I'm just like, as you saw, tears, like, I'm just like, oh, just because life's tough.
Yeah.
But what's the I can't think of the word. What else would I do? Like, life's tough raising children.
Yes. Yeah.
Life's tough if you go to your job and are a teacher and you're having little kids all around you all the day. It's tough.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what are you going to choose?
Yeah. Which tough are you going to choose?
Which tough are you going to choose? Which hard are you going to choose?
Agreed.
And I would much rather do what I'm doing. I love my job. I love this industry. I love empowering people. I'm a fixer. I want to fix people. I love the people I've met. That's why I got into Clubhouse. I've met so many people.
Yeah.
Just from even doing that. Like, I love people, and it's given. And I've also, I'm a yes girl. Like, anytime someone, like, you ask me, sure. Real Anders asked me, I was like, sure. I'm now an author in a book because Robert McFadden and Christopher Hesse asked me to be a part of a chapter in their new book that they're launching. I said, sure, and I'm just saying yes to everything because you never know what's going to come your way.
That's right. I love that. Love that. I love that. So, Amy, this has been such a pleasure getting to know you better, hearing your story, hearing your journey. It's so inspirational. I've done so many of these interviews, but there's only been a few of them, a handful of that really brought me to tears. And I have to say, like, you definitely hit that space for me. And I love that because I feel inspired, and I hope the ladies, as you were listening today, I hope if you're listening and you heard something, I hope that you felt inspired to keep moving, to keep going, to not quit, no matter how hard you think it is right this minute, that you take a little piece of Amy with you, and feel inspired to keep going. That's what I hope you get out today. I hope you feel blessed and empowered. And so, ladies, that is it for us today. I thank you, Amy, for taking time away from your family, from your business to share with the ladies here in the She Network. It's meant so much to us. Thank you so much. So I'm going to say bye to you privately. So, ladies,
thank you so much for having me. So fun.
Such a pleasure. So, ladies, that's it for us today. I'm Taylor Thompson here in the She Network with my special guest, Miss Amy White. So, hope you have a blessed, amazing day. See you later. Bye-bye.